After being inaugurated, President Biden has reversed many policies and actions of his predecessor. Additionally, the Biden administration has made significant accomplishments this year, including the efficient distribution of the COVID-19 vaccines, the rejoining of the Paris Climate Agreement, as well as the passage of the American Rescue Plan Act. Many politicians and leaders have much to say about Biden's influence on our country.
So from my perspective, a lot of the significant things he's done has actually been kind of negative. He, in ending the XL pipeline, there were people that had very good paying jobs that would be building that. There would be people that would be able to refine that oil into various kinds of products that we'd use. And so that kind of economic activity isn't going to help. It's not going to happen, and people aren't going to be employed in the way they would have been otherwise. Now, you might argue that, boy, we don't want to do fossil fuels, and there's real problems with the environment because of that. But stopping the XL pipeline doesn't mean that Canada isn't going to extract those resources. What it means is Canada is going to ship that someplace else. They'll either ship some of it on ships to China, and so China will be using those fossil fuels there, or some of that stuff is actually would be transported in tanker trucks rather than in rail. And rail is much safer than tanker trucks, far fewer accidents and far fewer environmental impact to properly maintain pipelines. With changing how we dealt with immigration issues, I think it's been pretty obvious that there's been a much larger increase in people trying to cross the border without having the proper credentials for that. And that also makes a large population of people that can be taken advantage of, can be exploited, and can be exploited by criminals who do various kinds of things across the border. So I think he's done some significant things I haven't really supported.
I think what President Biden has done is send an air of hope and uniformity and confidence, as opposed to disunity, disconcertion, malicious rumors and maligning people and things of that nature. Biden has been like a steady voice of calm, a leader who's been encouraging everybody to get vaccinated. And I think I just love the fact that President Biden tells people it's your patriotic duty to get vaccinated. I love that when he says it's your patriotic duty to get vaccinated, so that people understand from the highest levels of our government, the person who's in charge of our country, and I mean, literally has the power of, getting us into conflicts and things of that nature, is encouraging everybody to get vaccinated because it's their patriotic duty.
The other thing has been really looking at the minors who are being held at detention centers at the border, immigration detention centers, and how that the number of minors in detention centers has been reduced significantly since he took office. So that's
as I said, infrastructure means, frankly, making sure that we don't have another generation of kids raised in poverty, which is a major emphasis of his infrastructure bill.
I'd like to see money come from the federal government that could build a tunnel at the Pacheco Pass that would bring high-speed rail from San Francisco to Bakersfield. Now, I don't know if people in San Francisco want to go to Bakersfield, but I'm guessing plenty of people from Fresno want to come to San Jose, and people see that, okay, this rail is going to help us reduce our carbon footprint. It's part of our government coming together and building for the future for you. So one day you can go to LA on the train. I'd like to see a separate independent judiciary that deals with immigration like you have in bankruptcy. It's Article 3. Not that you guys should get that, but you have a separate independent judge and you have these courtrooms that they deal with this differently. They're not in, it doesn't matter who comes from, who's the president or who's the attorney general. They're there for 10-year terms and they can do the work that needs to be done.
Picking Kamala Harris as his vice president, that was the first decision he had to make, as a candidate. showing the country that, he would elevate, to that position, a person of color, a woman, the first time we've ever seen someone in that position. Also incredibly important, especially as we take on, race issues in this country as they relate to policing and discrimination. And so there's a lot of work ahead, but it's so refreshing to have, a leader, an adult, a compassionate individual at the White House. Pandemic has sucked for kids in school, but I bet one thing that they didn't miss were the drills or the fear. And that fear is going to persist once you're back full time. And it's my hope that we can end gun violence by passing background checks, by having an assault weapons ban, by doing more to take the most dangerous guns out of the hands of the most dangerous people. And I know President Biden gets it. He wrote the assault weapons ban law in 1994. He wrote the Violence Against Women Act, which also, does a lot to protect victims of domestic violence. And so he gets this issue. He has worked with and grieved with many of the families who have lost family members to gun violence. And it's really just a matter of, can we find and can the Senate and the House summon the courage to act on this?
Biden's $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan to rebuild America includes improving transportation services, water systems, housing, schools, and investing more in education and childcare. Biden's plan to increase funding for technology and research will contribute to his goal of a clean energy future. Many Americans are patiently awaiting the outcome of this major proposal.